So now that you know what's in the course, and you know which paths you can take to complete the course, and you know how you can get the most out of this course, let's finally get started with React and with writing React code. And for that, of course, you typically need a React project where you can write that code. And whilst you'll learn how to write React code and which React features you should know in the next course section, it's this lecture here where I want to show you how you can create React projects. And one of the quickest ways of getting started with writing React code is to type react.new into your browser URL bar. And if you then hit enter, a brand new React project workspace will be created for you with help of a website called Code Sandbox, which gives you an in-browser development environment, so that you can work on files and write code and see a preview of the website you're working on in the browser without installing anything locally. And that's therefore, of course, a great choice to get started quickly, and also a great choice if you simply can't install software locally because you're maybe working on a computer issued by a company that doesn't give you administrator permissions. And indeed, throughout the course, in all those course sections, I will always provide you with starting projects that use Code Sandbox so that you can use that environment and that you can follow along throughout the course without installing anything locally. But of course, you might also prefer a local React project instead of using this Code Sandbox in-browser environment. Because creating such a local React project, which runs on your machine, of course, gives you the advantage that you can configure it exactly to your needs, that you can use your favorite code editor, for example, Visual Studio Code, a very popular code editor which is totally free to use and which is available for all major operating systems, and which therefore is the code editor I'll suggest for following along with this course if you do go for a local project. Because in that code editor, you can then set up everything the way you want it, install extra extensions that make your life as a developer easier, and therefore you might prefer having such a local project instead of that web-based project Code Sandbox gives you. But if you want to create such a local project, you'll need to also install Node.js from nodejs.org. And there you can download the latest or the LTS version, that's up to you. Because even though this is not a Node.js course and you won't write any Node.js code throughout this course, you need Node.js because these different tools like Vite, which you can use for creating local React projects, under the hood use Node.js. So you need Node.js for these tools. And speaking of that, there are different tools you could use to create such local React projects. Vite is an extremely popular one, but if you search for Create React Project, you'll, for example, also find Create React App, which is an alternative to Vite, so another tool which you could also look into to create React projects. And both these tools in the end give you simple commands that you can execute to create new projects. For example, when using Vite, you have to run npm create Vite at latest in your command prompt or terminal after installing Node.js. And this will then ask you a couple of questions where you can then choose that you want to create a React project. And as a result, you'll get a project which you can open up with any code editor of your choice. For example, as mentioned, Visual Studio Code, and you can get started working on that code there. One important note about these local projects, though, whenever you first create such a project, you have to run npm install to install all extra packages that are used by that project. For example, the React library package. And then thereafter, in case of Vite projects, you have to run npm run dev in a terminal to start up a development server, which allows you to visit and preview the website you're working on. And you should keep that server up and running as long as you're working on your code, because this underlying server process will also watch your code files and update that preview website whenever you save changes to your code. So this gives you a very efficient way of working on your code and seeing those changes in action. Whenever you're done for the day, you can quit that process and then restart it whenever you're ready to pick up work again. If you're using a code sandbox based project, you don't have to run npm install though, and you don't have to run npm run dev or any other command. Instead, everything is already set up for you. You got your preview window on the right here. You can adjust the UI as needed, and you can dive right into the code. But just as you find code sandbox-based starting projects in all those course sections, I also always give you local project snapshots, zip files to be precise, which you can download and extract, and which you could then open with your code editor to run npm install once after you first downloaded it, and then npm run dev to work in that local project. So you got both options throughout this course. But why exactly do we need such a rather complex project setup if all we want to do is write some React code?